Hi everyone, Alexa here from the blog, theduvallhomestead.com, where I like to share with you farm-to-table recipes and homemade natural living. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to talk about how to make Christmas cards yourself in Canva. I did this last year and this year as well. It's easy, it's fast, and it's so much less expensive than using one of the more fancy Christmas card brands like Minted or something. At the end of this video, I'm going to share a few tips on how to take pictures of yourself by yourself if you're interested in that. I am a family and portrait photographer on the side, but when it comes to my own family, I don't like to spend the money on hiring another photographer because they're so expensive. So I actually just take a tripod out and I take pictures of us by myself. It's not the easiest thing ever. I'd much rather have a professional photographer, but I can't be the only one in the boat of not wanting to pay $400, $500 or more to get pictures. So these pictures were taken by me and I just used my remote function on my phone. So anyway, I'm going to show you the tutorial on how to make the card in Canva, and then if you want to stick around for the photography tips at the end, I will share those as well. Okay, so to start off, you're going to go to canva.com. This is a really great tool you can use for anything that is basically paper related or presentations or social media. So I'm going to search for Christmas cards. And then you're just going to pick a template that you like. On the left here, you'll see a button called Uploads, and that's where you're going to put your photos that you're going to use for the Christmas card. So you can see mine down here. I'm going to go ahead and swap out some photos and try a few of them out. So these fit really well. Oh, I have a repeat. Okay, so if I wanted like, a family picture here and then a picture of just me and her and then a picture of my husband and Allison, it will take a horizontal picture and you just drag it over here and it will automatically crop it to vertical, and then you can move the photo so it fits in the frame. So that's really cute. I like that because it's got, one of each of us and then the family. Another option I could do is close-ups of her, so I can leave the family one and then I can do this, or maybe, let's see, put that one over here. Click on the words here and highlight all of the words, and then up here is the font, and it's at 50 now, so I'm going to try 60, or that might be too big. Okay, and then down here, I always like to list our names, everyone who's in the family, like everyone's name. So I'm gonna actually delete this with love part. So you just click on it. What I like about this is it's so easy to change it. So I'm gonna click on the with love and just press delete. And then I'm gonna move this over here. And I'm really just dragging and dropping. It's very user friendly. And so I'm gonna have, I would like it to say 2022. I always like to have the year. So I'm actually gonna try to use this font. So I'm gonna copy and paste this block of text, bring it down here, and of course I'm going to have to make it smaller, but I'm going to say 2022, and I'll change the font size to, I don't know, 35 maybe 30 or 25. Match. I'm going to make this smaller. Oh no. There we go. Okay, and that's a really basic, quick tutorial on how to make your own Christmas card in Canva. So the next thing you're going to do, you have a couple options. You can print this at home, or you can have Canva print it for you and then they will send it to you. I did that option because I would rather not use all the paper and then have to worry about ink, and I feel like my luck would be that the ink would run out halfway through the printing, so I just assume have it done by Canva. So you're going to click this print invitations button, and you have an option to have the back say something, so you can make this a lot more extravagant. So the default is premium paper, and that's a nice choice. It's thick, it's going to feel like a card, it's not going to feel like printer paper. I have never tried the deluxe paper, but this year I'm going to go with the hemp paper because it just sounds kind of nice. It's a textured paper, and I'm going to get 50, and I'm going to include envelopes. So the total came out to $68, free delivery. 68 is really not that bad. Usually whenever I go on Shutterfly or Minted or one of the fancy card websites, it always ends up being like $100 or more. And I don't know why. I think it's because they they tell you to bundle it with other things, or hey, do you want this too? You want some magnets? You want some other things? I don't know. Or they say, you know, free shipping if you spend $75, but then your total is $70, and then you have to buy more, and then, but that's why I like Canva. It's so simple. Okay, so this is taking forever to load, but you get the drill. I think at this point it's pretty self-explanatory. You basically just go through the checkout process, credit card info, address, and then you get these sent to you. And now I'll show you what they look like when you receive them. And here they are. They arrived in the mail. So I'm gonna show you, take a look. Ah, so pretty. And I love it. The paper quality is really nice. It just comes really fast in the mail too. So here's our final product. I love it. It's very thick. I like the texture of the pages, and it's gonna be perfect. Okay, now for the photography tips. I had to turn my camera around because I'm losing so much of my natural light. I don't want to turn on my artificial light because as a photographer, I hate artificial light. So anyway, it's gonna get dark here in a second, so I'm gonna try to make this brief. So I want to start off by saying that hiring a photographer is a great idea. I'm a photographer myself. I do family pictures, and it is so worth it to have and pay for pictures. So if you are going to choose between spending money on a photographer and getting the pictures and eating into your budget that month or that year for pictures versus not doing it, you definitely should do it, especially if you have kids. I mean, I'm just such a fan of photography and video as well, and you should definitely spend the money on a photographer if you can. With that said, if you have a camera and you're interested in taking your own photos and you have patience, then you can definitely do it. So that is what I did because I know how to take pictures. It's harder though, and they don't always come out as well, and you don't get as many. So I'm gonna say that this is not the best option, but it's possible if you are interested and you're willing to put the work in a little bit. So I just wanted to preface with that because I'm not saying this is easier and that this is way better, because it's not. Hiring a photographer is definitely better. But this is definitely possible. So let me tell you my tips for how to do it. So if you have a camera, I'm assuming you know how to use it. So I'm not gonna go into camera settings because quite frankly, that would be a whole nother video about how to actually take pictures properly and the right settings to use. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments below and maybe I will do that. But I'm gonna just talk about my tips for getting Christmas photos specifically because that's what most people are looking for. Okay, so my first tip is to use a nice camera. So when I say nice, I don't mean the nicest of all the cameras, I just mean a decent camera. So I use a Canon Rebel T7i. I will link any product I mention, I'm gonna link it below. It doesn't mean that it's the only product or best product you should use. It's just what I use, and I tend to do things on the cheap side just because I don't wanna spend a lot of money on stuff, because quite honestly, you can do a lot with a very, very simple camera. So I'm gonna link that stuff below. But with that said, you wanna use a nice camera and not a cell phone. Now, some of the Android phones are very nice when it comes to camera settings. I have an iPhone and it's terrible. I hate taking pictures with it. But to each their own. If you have a tripod for your phone, that will work as well. But some of my tips won't apply to that. So the reason I like a camera, especially the Canon, is that there is an app called Camera Connect. I'm looking at it on my phone right now. This app allows you to remote view through your camera. So what I mean by that is, if I wasn't filming right now, I could tap on this app and I could look at what I'm seeing through my camera lens, and I can actually take a picture by pressing on my phone while being in the picture. Does that make sense? And so that's how I took our family Christmas pictures. Now you might be wondering, what about a 10-second timer? Does that work? A 10-second timer can work. I don't like doing a 10-second timer because you usually have to focus on one thing when you press the 10-second timer, and then that's the only thing the camera will focus on. For example, if you have 4 people and you're one of the people that's gonna end up in the picture. So you're getting the camera set up and there's 3 people, and you tap maybe their face to focus on their face, and then the timer starts 10, 9, 8, and you run around. It may not get you because you told the camera that that person was the subject. Sometimes this doesn't happen, but it happens to me quite a bit. Maybe there's something I'm doing wrong, but that's why I don't do that, because it doesn't work well. So what I do is I look at the picture on the phone and I'm in the picture and I'm looking at myself in the picture and I make sure everything's set up, and then I tap our faces to tell the camera that they should focus on our faces. And then I have my thumb ready to take the picture, and then I hide my arm, I put it around my husband or whatever, and then I tap it. And then you can hear the click happen, the shutter happen on the camera. So that is hands down the best way to take family pictures. Okay, so now I'm gonna talk to you about a lens. Now, if you want beautiful pictures, you may already know this, but you need a nicer lens than what most cameras like a Canon come with. So you want a 50mm lens, and you want it to be able to go down to an f-stop really, really low, like 1.5, 1.8 or 2. Now, I may have lost some people. What are you talking about? What I'm talking about is to make the picture look professional. Usually you like to have the subject clear right in the center of the picture, and then the background be really blurry and really pretty. And in order to do that, you have to get a really low f-stop. So I figured out a way to make this happen when I started my photography business without spending thousands of dollars, because most lenses are thousands of dollars. So there is a lens, it's a 50mm lens that goes on the Canon camera. It was $100, maybe $110 or something, which is so low compared to most lenses. You cannot zoom with it. However, it gets you down to that low f-stop, which makes my photos look professional. I actually run my photography business with that lens, but you can't zoom. So there's a dilemma with that because you have to stand far away from your subject, which is fine, and that's actually totally easy when you're taking family pictures, because you're gonna use a tripod, you put the camera there, you place it in the right spot, and you're good to go. So if you don't have that lens and you want professional looking pictures, I will link it below so you can get it. It's just such a good price. You don't have to spend $3,000 or $1,000 on a lens, and you can get that professional looking photo. Okay, so I have a few other tips I wrote on my phone. One, lighting, just a few tips on lighting. You want the sun to be behind the subject if you want to kind of light you and your family up, or coming kind of from the side. You just want to make sure that the lens is not being glared out by the sun. So you never want the sun to be right here and the lens to be right where I'm taking a video, because then it will create a glare on the camera. A good rule of thumb that I always remember when I'm working with people is if they're squinting at all to look at me, the sun is too much in their eyes. So I rotate them until the sun is behind them and they aren't squinting. Now, if you have a really cloudy day or something, you can have the sun behind a cloud, and then you can stand in front of the sun. If the cloud is creating a shade, that's ideal. Actually, the pictures I used for our Christmas card this year, we had the sun in our face, but it was partly cloudy, so we weren't squinting, and it was actually perfect. If there were no clouds, I would have had to have rotated us because it would have been too much sun. The best time of day to do pictures, in my opinion, is anytime you can get your family to do them. No, seriously though, the best time is morning or evening, specifically evening, 2 hours before sunset. That's the golden hour, but I really only use golden hour when it is summertime, because it's very hard to get that in the wintertime when I don't even know if we're gonna have a golden hour because it might be snowy or cloudy. I took these pictures in the late morning, about 11 a.m. The worst time to take them is between 11 and about 3 p.m. because the sun is usually really, really high depending on the time of year. So if you can get out early or later, that's best. Okay, a couple more tips. I'm gonna wrap this up. This is going longer than I thought, but if you want a Christmas tree in the background, you probably will have to buy a Christmas tree from the farm. A lot of people want a quintessential Christmas tree farm picture, but most Christmas tree farms will charge for photography. So as a photographer, I can't just take clients to Christmas tree farms and take pictures because it usually costs quite a bit of money actually to do that. They charge for that. Now, if it's my family, they're not gonna charge me because I'm taking my own pictures, but you know what I'm saying. But if you go to a Christmas tree farm and you buy a Christmas tree and then you take your own pictures, that's totally okay. Or even better yet, if you have one near your house, do it on another day and just tell them, hey, we're gonna come back tomorrow and take pictures. You know, don't think we're being sketchy, we bought a tree, we just want to do them on different days. If you have a toddler or something, I suggest taking the picture on a different day than you actually get the tree, which is what we did. We went back the next day to get that picture because getting the tree is just a lot, and you really want, for your family picture, everyone to be in a good mood. And it's just hard with toddlers because they're only good for such a short amount of time. So if you are doing family pictures with kids, I suggest you go back a different day, tell them ahead of time, and they'll be totally fine with it. And get that shot, make sure everyone's happy, that way no one's muddy either, everyone's well fed, etc. Those are some more tips as well. Well fed, bring snacks, photography always takes longer than you think. Make sure the kids have had food, and make sure you do the pictures first thing when you get to the destination you're gonna take the pictures. Do them first thing. Don't have fun first, don't play first, don't eat first. Well, eat first if you haven't eaten yet. But do the pictures first thing, because you always want your energy and your face and your hair, whatever, to be freshest and best right away for those pictures. So never delay the pictures for any reason. Sorry, this video is getting so dark, by the way. I told you I'm losing my light. I might have to turn my actual light on soon. Okay, you guys are seeing all corners of my office slash sewing room right now because I had to turn on lighting. I knew I was gonna have to do it. Anyway, let me just finish up. I was gonna say a note about locations. If you don't have a tree farm or something like that near you, or you're not taking Christmas pictures, you're just taking family pictures, just go somewhere in nature. The only thing I don't recommend is a huge grassy field. If all you have is grass in the background, you might get a very yellowy background, and you might think it looks really beautiful when you're there at the, you know, playing or something, but when you get the picture, it ends up being kind of yellowy. At least that's my experience. I suggest trying to get the sky as much as possible. White, blue sky in your background is going to make the best pictures. And if you have a mountain range or just trees even, that would be super pretty as well. The only tip I have with trees is make sure that they're not sticking straight out of anyone's back of their head. And so to accomplish that, bring people in front of the tree. Don't stand them right in front of it. Bring them like, I don't know, several feet in front of the tree, so it's in the background and it's not right behind them distracting, like a huge trunk right here. Unless of course you really like the trunk and you want that as your background. Wear neutral colors. I love tans and browns and white personally. That would be my favorite color palette. I did not accomplish that for my own family pictures because we were just trying to get out of the house and I was like, just put on, I don't know, black, I guess. I did not prepare ahead of time, but black is fine too. What I don't recommend are things like big neon, you know, orange or red colors like that, or anything with a big print like flowers or hearts or something, or logos are not good. So neutral colors are best, but I always tell people, wear what makes you feel good. So if you had a choice between a big floral dress and a tan dress, but you love the floral dress, then wear the floral dress. So at the end of the day, they are your photos. But neutral colors tend to go better together. And if you think about it, if you have a brown or orange tree behind you and you're wearing, you know, pink, it's kind of a lot of colors that clash. Whereas if you have a brown tree behind you and you're wearing white with a brown, you know, jacket, that's gonna look really pretty together. Okay, lastly, edit your photo in Lightroom. Lightroom is an app that you can use for free. The premium subscription to Lightroom, which I don't know how much, it's like $5 or $10 a month. It's not that much. I use it personally. It allows you to selectively edit your subject versus your sky, which is life-changing for photographers. What I mean by that is, let's say the background is really bright, but you, the people, are dark. And if you brighten the whole picture, then the background's gonna be blown out and all white, it'll be overexposed, but you will look good. In order to prevent that from happening, you have to selectively edit. So you only would edit you as a subject or whoever else is in the picture. And so you can definitely just pay for that Lightroom for 1 month or something like that. That's what I would do if I had to get that perfect shot and I wanted our subject to be brighter but not overexpose the background. If you don't have the subscription, Lightroom will allow you to edit the entire picture, which might be nice if you want the whole picture to be brighter or more contrasting or more saturated colors or something like that. You can use the free version. Also, your Apple computer, the Photos app, if you have a MacBook, the Photos app on the MacBook is great. That will edit as well, but it doesn't have selective editing. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed these tips. Thanks for sticking around the whole video. If you're brand new to my channel, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, and on Instagram. Every week I share new farm-to-table recipes and homemade natural living. Thank you so much for stopping by the Duvall Homestead.